Hello, everyone. It's my next video, and today I would like to present the interview or video on YouTube of Danny Ranch, which was, well, a few months ago. And when the whole mess about cheating, anti-cheating started, and I would like to comment a bit on it. So just to try to prove my words, to try to explain you why I have disagreements and what I find wrong in I mean in explanations of chess.com. So let's go. Let's go. It's chess.com's video. You see it. I guess the picture. So
Time to talk about cheating in chess. For those of you who've been under a rock, there's been a ton of stuff happening in the online chess world, including a 14th world champion who has become a self-proclaimed expert on cheating statistics. Vladimir is actually amazing. Shout out to Vlad, and we deeply respect him. Believe it or not, this is not going to be a segment.
I don't believe, but thanks anyway.
Where I'm even necessarily defending chess.com or making disparaging jokes at the 14th world champion's expense. We respect him and his opinion. We respect Fabiano Caruana, his opinion, the C-Squared podcast. We respect everyone in their opinion. And I want to start off with saying that in this segment, the first thing that really matters is giving a massive validation sandwich to everybody who has been frustrated at times with how chess.com has handled the process of cheat detection.
Yeah, I fully agree with Danny, but as you will see in this video, he actually doesn't give any validation of this process. He just gives certain information, data, but no validation whatsoever. So let's continue.
We are going to talk about the data and the accuracy, which it isn't very accurate.
Just maybe going a bit ahead of the train. Actually, he doesn't talk in this video about accuracy, which isn't very accurate, as he says, for no particular reason. I mean, if it's not very accurate, then why not to make it very accurate? But in any case, he forgot to talk about it.
And the misguided statements that are being made about how much cheating is happening.
Yeah, that point we will come back later. It's pretty funny.
That part of it is going to be defended. Okay? That part of it is going to be defended. But right now, we're going to talk about the fact that there's a reason that people have been frustrated. There's a reason that people have felt, if you want to use the term, paranoid.
Yeah, I mean, this is going. Danny is going to repeat this. It's actually, yeah, I find it pretty well, uncultured. I'm sorry to use this word, because it's not just me, but many other players, some top players, who don't agree with the assessment of chess.com, and to call it frustrated, paranoid, well, it's especially since, as I will try to prove it today, to use it, we are much closer to the truth than Danny. I mean, that's not correct, in my opinion.
There's been a reason that people have felt like chess.com isn't doing enough. Sure. And that is because what happened over the years is that chess.com's investment in the process didn't match the transparency and the communication that we were making to the world.
It still doesn't, by the way, but okay.
And when you add to that the fact that when we initially invested in cheat detection, everyone, it was designed to catch people before they could even play title player. Like, that was what the initial design was, because we were just trying to protect title players. Then here comes Title Tuesday and early stakes. But even then, it's like $1,000 once a month, right? So while I would say that the bones of the algorithm, and we've actually been pretty good at what we've been doing for a really long time. Have you had the...
Yeah, as we say in Russia, if you don't praise yourself, nobody will, yeah? Very good, okay. Would like to see a slightest proof of it, but if Danny says so, I guess we have to believe in it.
The Hans Niemann report and other things that we've done, including earlier in this show, we have not done a very good job of communicating it. Further, I would say that when the stakes have gone up, the stakes are no longer $1,000 once a month on a Title Tuesday. The stakes are now millions of dollars in prizes. combined with people feel like their reputation is at stake when they stream, combined with just general feelings of frustration when title players aren't punished. Because I'll say this, the punishment has not met the crime, or what is the right way for us to say it? Like, we have not properly invested in what is now at stake. And I'm going to acknowledge that, which is the fact that people should not be allowed, chess.com should not be carrying the chess professional world secrets. It is different if you're a professional player cheating in a prize event versus a random person who maybe just learned chess. And even if you know what you're doing wrong with Stockfish, it is different. If you earned a chess title, you know what you're doing is wrong. You're stealing from fellow chess professionals, period. And you know it because you have a title, even if it's an NM title that took years to earn in tournament. And when you add the fact that we haven't been public enough, arguably, we haven't held people as aggressively accountable as they should be, even if I do believe in second chances and that's not changing. By the way, every other...
Yeah, just before he talks about second changes, I in general agree with him, but then why for years they had this policy of actually not punishing cheaters? First question. I mean, if he agrees, so why wouldn't they do it? And now an important sentence.
Court has precedent for second chances. People get caught for PEDs. They're not banned for life. They serve their time and come back. If they do it repeatedly, are they banned for life? Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's how it happens in all sports and so on. But the only I know sport is chess and chess.com when actually they are not punished at all. Then there is no, I mean, if a person admits he's cheating, he can continue to play without any punishment. That's the system. So sorry, I mean, this parallel is just not valid because in every sport the person is banned for some time for sure. Whatever he admits it or not, doesn't matter. He's banned. His name is becomes public. And then he had a second chance. I agree. I also agree with the second chance, but not without the slightest punishment, as Chess.com used to do all the time and continues to do.
Applies for the Olympics and the IOC or baseball, football, whatever. So we will continue to operate with second chances, but we are not going to continue to operate in a world where we are holding the chess title players' secrets.
Sorry, advertisement.
If you want to go to Glion Justice,
the strongest players in the world feel like we're not doing enough to protect them. The stakes are going up. And again, the consequences for cheating have not been high enough. On that note, I transition to the biggest...
First question, why? If you believe so, if Chess.com believes so, why for years it was not high enough? Second, if you say so, why the system is still the same? There are a few months already passed since then, and I don't see any changes so far.
This point of this segment, which maybe is not what you thought it was going to be, which is that many of you actually did notice that we made an update to our legal term on October 26th. In fact, some of the comments we have prepared for this chat were calling it out on Twitter and making statements that obviously refer to the fact that there was a massive lawsuit that recently ended. But the truth is, we've been ready and prepared and eager to make these changes for quite some time. In fact, it was because there was an ongoing lawsuit that we needed to be very patient in that. But I will say this. We need the flexibility, we need the power, we need the strength to do the things that you all want us to do so that we are not constantly running down a bunch of people suing us when they have cheated themselves, right? Because make no mistake, regardless of your view of how the Hans Niemann thing ended, there is no debate about the fact that he did cheat. He admitted to it himself. Now, you can debate about the level of cheating that he admits to or not. Our Hans Niemann report or him. He was dishonest about it. That's not debatable. Whether you believe our version of his dishonesty in terms of what he did competing in prize events, or whether he just kept it a secret because he didn't want to talk about it. He tried to pull a Lance Armstrong and say that he barely cheated, right? So, but be very clear. What is undebatable is that he cheated and he was dishonest about it. The only thing that's debatable is the level of cheating and his dishonesty. Our version says it one way. His version says it another way. There may or may not be a documentary on this someday that is going to tell another huge part of the story. But what I will say is this. We need the flexibility in the...
1 second before coming back. Well, I'm not. I don't know exactly the story, what was happening, but I would remind you that finally, instead of going to court, they had an agreement with Hans Niemann, and according to my information, and many other chess players also have this information. Okay, I don't know really. I don't know this, and okay, if it's not true. Chess.com can comment on it. At least during his famous interview, Hans Niemann, he just decided not to give any comment on it. But according to my information, okay, they paid certain amount of money to Hans Niemann for some reason. I mean, if they are so sure they did everything correctly, then why wouldn't they continue, go to court and win the case? So it's kind of a little bit strange, but I'm inviting any side of the story they know better to comment on it and to give to clarify why and how was this case and how did it end at the end of the day.
Power to run down everything that you want us to do, and if someone cheats and lies and then decides to sue, no matter who they are, we need the flexibility to attack it. So this is not like chess.com is protecting their ass so that they don't get sued again.
It is actually, but the question is, I don't quite get it. If you're 100% sure that Hans was cheating, if you're totally sure about the report, which by the way nobody forced you to publish, and which actually also reveals pretty much all your anti-cheating system, why then you decided to have an agreement with Hans Niemann, and well, you didn't go to court and to win? What's the problem? Anyone can sue you, but if he's lacking well proof, and he's just going to lose. So that's a very good argument, which I would like to to listen to the answer of it. I mean, it doesn't seems to be very logical to me.
This is us acting responsibly because we're growing up as a company and we want to do the things that you want us to do. So, massive validation to Vladimir Kramnik, who's been frustrated, Fabiano Caruana, people who've been...
I was not frustrated. I'm just unhappy with Chess.com being not respectful to top players like me, calling frustrated or paranoid first. And second, I just want transparency and true open conversation, but it's not frustration.
Frustrated and paranoid at times because of a process that we allowed to get out.
Again, you see this manipulation about frustration, paranoid. I mean, very disrespectful, completely wrong way of talking to an opposite side, especially since I'm not the only one, as I mentioned already, and this is simply not the way to speak if you're a cultural person and respectable company.
Out of control. I am saying this is our fault. And I am saying that we are now investing even more than you would ever think we could. It starts legally, gives us power. Title player cheaters, be warned, because the game is changing and you are not going to have your things kept secret. And I'm going to talk about the different varying of levels.
Wait. So you're not going to keep it secret anymore. It's been October now. What? It's almost February already. Haven't seen any changes yet. It's been enough time, no?
Of that, because that's not a threat, although execution will happen in terms of us acting on what we're saying we're going to do, not any other type of execution. Now moving on to the stats. There's Reddit questions. There's people asking about the stats. I'm going to get into a lot of this with the person who's about to join me. He's our head of community. His name is Casa Corley, and he's awesome.
Sorry, too much advertisement. This guy is very popular.
If you want to go to Glion Justice,
to YouTube.
Regardless of everything I just said, and make no mistake, this is all going to be a video that you're already watching on YouTube. Chess.com needs to do better. We are investing in order to allow us to be stronger and more flexible to do better. We have failed in transparency and process, which is what led to the environment that we live in with Kramnik and Fabi and those other people. So there's your full validation sandwich. Now, in the middle of that sandwich is they're wrong about the stats. If you want to look into it yourself, you can look into the, independent person, this guy named like Damien or Darian or something who did it. You can believe.
I'm sorry. Can you please be more precise? What exactly is wrong about the stats and not name some independent person whom you don't even know the name exactly. But till the end of this video you will not get a single proof, factual fact or proof that we are wrong about the stats. Yes, so okay, I can tell, no, Danny, you are wrong about the stat. That's it.
Believe that we have a signed letter from head of statistics at Harvard that we would use if ever needed to legally, that validates and audited our systems. You can look at
Validates your systems. Yeah, it's a very, very general terms. In fact, Danny is using a lot of very general terms in this video. First of all, we don't know the name of this person. Secondly, what kind of paper is signed. And third, it doesn't mean that the statistics which I publish, which is totally correct, which is open source statistics, there is anything wrong with it.
The fact that no matter what they say, we continue to close title players every month. That doesn't mean that everything I've ever said on this show isn't true. There are people cheating on chess.com and getting away with it. But we are going to catch them. We invest when we think they're cheating.
Now, we are going to catch them when? In 1 or 2 years, when they will rob another 100 or 200 players? One day, yes, probably. Yeah, but would be nice if it will happen a bit sooner.
Then we run their other games. We look into their DNA this way. We do this, we do that. We compare, and at some point they will get caught. Many of you who are OGs know that there are people who cheated and won multiple Title Tuesdays before we closed them. And anyone who wants to dive into the Hans Niemann report and see the games, you can, or see the names that we didn't mention. We have done really, really tough closures of some of the best players in the world.
Well, I mean, yes, of course you have done, but how many in percentage of people who were cheating? I mean, that's a big question, and that nobody knows. So it doesn't prove at all that the system is efficient and that you are catching at least half or more of the people who use unfair methods to earn money.
This idea that 50% or 20%.
That is the best now. I would like to. That is the best one. That is the most interesting.
This idea that 50% or 20% is so outlandishly absurd, it's not even close. And in fact, as someone who's sometimes accused of being a streamer or content creator first or a hype person first in Hikaru Nakamura, he was actually the most accurate and much closer. If you want an answer, and I'm diving into the Reddit question, we have closed, if you want to look at it that way, roughly 1% of people who have...
that is interesting. So Dan is saying that we have closed 1%. 50 or 20 even percent is a total nonsense. It's just so absurd, yeah, that I will show you a certain material, factual material on it. But for now, first of all, Hikaru was telling about 20% of Title Tuesday player, and then when the person corrected him that okay, there are not 100 players but more, and then he said, well, yes, then it takes it 4-5% or whatever, but definitely the majority of those who cheat, they're in top 100. So basically, I guess Hikaru was meaning 20 out of top 100, which makes it, and even 4% is much more than 1%. Yeah, so basically, if he says that Hikaru is closer to the true, and basically there is 1 or 3%. Yeah, now he's going to mention that there are maybe 3%. But you know what is the difference between 1 and 3%? So if you catch and ban 1%, and in fact, Danny himself is going to tell now that he believes it can be up to 3 or 4, it means you catch, I'm sorry, 1/3 of cheaters, which is a very bad percentage. But okay, let's listen to it now.
Played in Title Tuesdays over time, or cheaters, we think that it's that much. Actually, it's not just Title Tuesday. That 1% applies to like all titled games.
Very interesting. So that 1% applies to the all titled games. So accounts or games, players, 1% of players or 1% of games. Okay, let's make a calculation now together with you. So he's talking about 3% of games, all titled games. Let's consider that at least in money events like Title Tuesdays, the percentage is at least shouldn't be less than in non-money games. So 3%, in average 500 players in Title Tuesday. means 250 games per round. Well, let's say some people finish the tournament earlier, so let's make it very roughly 240 games, which well means like more than 250 games per round. I mean 2600 something games in general in Title Tuesday. 3%, what amount is it? 3%, it makes it around 80 games per tournament. One single tournament, 80 cheating games. Let's now go further. Okay, of course some people cheat just once, just because I'm sorry, idiots, and want to spoil a tournament of some prominent player. But most of them, let's say they cheat very, very rarely. Somebody can cheat more than 5-6 games a tournament. So probably, yeah, I would say roughly 20, maybe 15 people like this, yeah, who cheat kind of constantly a tournament. Out of this, okay, let's make 10 at least. So if somebody cheats 5 or 6 games a tournament, it means basically that, very obviously, that he's probably, well, should be in top 100 or even top 50, at minimum top 100. So, but probably, let's say, so it's whether 10, whether 20% of players who are fighting for prizes are cheating. But Danny, I mean, this is the basic calculation, very approximate but very logical. So what about this 1%? And we catch 1%. I'm sorry, doesn't fit, no?
Probably, we think that maybe around 3%. Hikaru said 4%. Maybe cheating. Now, that's 3% of either total title player game.
Yeah, maybe cheating, maybe not cheating. Who cares after all?
It's not just Title Tuesday, total cash events. But again, that comes with the caveat that we are aware of anything suspicious. We're on top of it. And those people continue to be closed every month. A lot of times, not in a highlightable moment that you saw in a controversial way. We were just doing our job. We're investing and doing our job.
But, okay, so you have a great anti-cheating system, which is working perfectly. You are aware of most, if not every, suspicious person who is cheating, and slowly but surely closing, banning them. Not punishing them, though, okay, they can continue to play actually if they just say sorry to you personally, but okay, that's another story. So, and of course, the idea that it's more than 3%, the idea is just absurd. I think he's going to repeat it right now again.
If you look at it in one lane, you can say that's way too high of cheating, 3%. I'm actually thinking, by the way, there are people who disagree with me that it's even 3%. There are people internally who say, no, Danny, it's closer to 1% or less.
There are people who say there is no cheating at all. Usually those are the cheaters, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I would say this. Even if it's on the higher percentage of that, and you think 3% is too much, here's what I would challenge you. And this is the last end of the validation sandwich. I validate the feelings that you have about us needing to do better. But
I haven't seen any validation, than just numbers taken out of the blue without any proofs.
The moment that all the top 10 and 20 players in the world who live in my DMs want to come forward and say, I would rather, Danny, I would rather you have ruined Alireza Firouzja's career.
Well, it's just such a hypocrisy. First of all, it's you, Chess.com, who banned Firouzja. Secondly, you haven't ruined his career at all. And okay, no, what we are saying, top players, that okay, we want to have a decent anti-cheating system and will to ban cheaters. I mean, but not to let them continue playing or ban or make doing some other measures. That's all what we are saying. But about Firouzja, sorry, I didn't tell to ban him. You did.
Who I accused of cheating. You know who you are. I would rather you have ruined Norbek Abdusaturov's career, who I accused of cheating. And I won't go down more lists. I would rather that, because I actually do think closing 3 people out of 100 is a fair thing. I'm willing for you to do that. I'm willing to go full Oxbow incident on this and mob mentality in it. Until you're willing to say that publicly, like, the answer is no, because I would actually argue those same stats protect you, every one of you. We actually are doing a phenomenal job. Anything
phenomenal job. Protect, how does it protect me? If you say that person, I mean your barrier is 99 dot something percent, it basically means that everybody who is 98% cheater by probability, which is extremely high, most probably he is a cheater, he is playing against me and other honest players and take our money. Can you please explain me maybe in detail how does it protect us?
More than 3% or even 5% is pure paranoia.
Yeah,
it is.
That's very important. I would like to repeat. I would like to, again, to...
Anything more than 3% or even 5% is pure paranoia.
Yeah,
it is.
So he claims more than 3 or 5% is pure paranoia. I'm going to show you now, before we finish it, I'm going to show you this article from Forbes, actually a few years ago. Now situation probably got better. A report, a Forbes article, cheating is becoming a big problem in online gaming. You can find it and read it all, but I will just read for you. A new study by Irdetto, a cybersecurity services firm for the media and entertainment industry, provides some novel revelations about the problem. The company surveyed 9,436 consumers and online gamers in China, Germany, Japan, South Korea, UK, and the US. Whether socially accepted, tolerated, or induced, cheating behavior is now massive. According to the survey, a total of 37%, not 1 or 2, 37% of gamers confessed to cheating. In brackets, 3% always, 9% often. You can see, by the way, this photo here. So 3% always, 9% often, 13% sometimes, and 12% rarely. And given there was no incentive compatible mechanism in the survey to elicit full honesty, other than the option prefer not to say, which is like pleading the fifth, I'm going to bet it's higher than 40%. So this is a citate of the article in Forbes, and I guess that 5% who said they don't know if they cheat or no, something tells me that most probably majority of them do. So this is official stats, and so Dani is claiming that everything above 3-5% is pure paranoia. So Forbes is paranoid, this big cybersecurity company is paranoid, everybody is paranoid. There was another article on Dota recently I saw, they estimate 12% as a minimum of games where cheating takes place. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is... Okay, let me be straight. Okay, it's a shame, Dani, it's a shame, Chess.com, because you are calling it paranoid, frustrated, and you're telling, I'm sorry, things which absolutely do not correspond to common sense and to the certain experience of other online games. So yeah, that's a price of your words, probably. I don't know. I'm sorry to tell this, but unfortunately, it seems to be true.
We're doing an amazing job.
Amazing job.
And then, if you're willing to, kill the innocent, sorry for the bad metaphor, right? Then we'll have a conversation, because until then, everyone else can armchair quarterback their stat view, and we have to act with kindness and accountability. Because
you act so kind towards people who are heavily suspected on cheating, that maybe you can be a little bit less kind to them. That would be my proposition.
Because we have to assume innocence before guilt, regardless of how people view the stats. So, there you go. We are investing. We are kicking ass. Our legal terms are even better. People are not going to lie and cheat and then be able to sue us in the future. And everything that's being said currently about our stats is misguided at best. It's just...
everything was being said by you in this interview or by us chess players? That's not clear. To me, it seems like the first variation is more correct.
It's wrong. Talk to real statisticians and look at the math and the data we're doing, as well as the manual stuff that really is.
I would love to look at the data you are doing, but you don't provide any data. I talked to real statisticians, they completely disagree with your statement, so please provide your data and maybe we will talk then. Or if you want to discuss this, don't record the video, Dani, but I'm ready to speak with you, with your mathematician, statistician in any live stream. So maybe you will not hide there in your office, and let's organize a stream, and I will stand behind my statistics and the verdicts, but maybe I will ask you to do the same with facts and numbers and not just the words, which doesn't seem to correspond to the reality, in my opinion. So that was an interview. Well, it's up to you now to judge about it. But the last cherry on the pie, I would like to show you the report. The only thing which was published lately about when I was given this asking, not accusing of course, but giving the certain statistics and asking Chess.com, demanding Chess.com to investigate it, to examine it, and to give us an answer, because the statistics is obviously, I will come back to it, is obviously very unusual. And so finally, after a long investigation and a petition signed by more than 2,500 people joining it and asking, Chess.com made this statement. It was November 29 regarding recent accusations. Already manipulations with word, because it was not accusations, and I mentioned it very clearly. It was request to analyze very, very unusual and standard statistics, to put it very diplomatically, with low probability statistics, and give us an explanation. So, okay, this is already misrepresenting the whole project. And then, okay, so there is some words, general words as usual, but finally the main part. In the case of the recent accusations, of course, they like to use this word, against Hikaru Nakamura, it was not against Hikaru Nakamura, it was not accusations. It was actually the statistics of him. True, not mentioned, his name was not mentioned, but he mentioned it himself, so I didn't want to put the name. And actually it's not against him. It can easily be something wrong with the players who are playing against him as well. So this is a pure manipulation, pure. In the case of the recent accusation against Hikaru Nakamura by Vladimir Kramnik, we can say that we have generated nearly 2,000 individual reports, whatever it means, on Hikaru's games in our fair play system, and have found no incidents of cheating. Okay, let's see the argumentation. As to allegations about Hikaru's incredible performance, again misrepresenting the whole idea, not allegation, not about Hikaru performance, but in general those performances. Streaks, very important S at the end. So it was actually only within 800 games, within like 2 months, there was 7 hugely over streaks which were overperforming from his side and hugely underperforming from the side of his opponents, which actually equally has to be investigated, examined seriously. So Chess.com is talking about streaks here. Of course, that was the point. It was not about one streak, but about the number of streaks. In brackets, including winning 45.5 games out of 46, including, not solely, but including. We have also looked at the statistics behind it. Great, let's check what was the verdict. Our team has done the math and various simulations of streaks, again streaks, of a player like Hikaru, who has played more than 50,000 games. Well, that's already to start with. Those streaks were played within 800 games, so 50,000 is what he played ever, all the time. I mean, if you take this amount of games, then you should take already, then you have to calculate all amount of overperformance streaks like that during this whole 50,000 games. But actually it was not done very clearly. And secondly, there was no 50,000 games, because of course you cannot count bullet or classical chess or something, or rapid chess, if you calculate a streak in solely 3 no increment games. So you have to take only blitz games, because even ratings are different in other sections. Yeah, so it just doesn't make any sense. Only if you take only 3-0 blitz games, it's already getting to 30,000. So 50,000 games, first of all, the number is totally wrong. It doesn't have anything to do, it shouldn't have anything to do with this research, first. Second, if you already take full time, then you have to count how many streaks were done during this time, and there were tens, dozens of such streaks. So in any case, it's just makes not much sense, this sentence. And then the best sentence: we have found that not only is a 45 game winning streak possible, it is in fact likely given the number of games played. I'm sorry, what we were investigating? At the beginning you are saying that you were checking the streaks, at minimum 7 within 800 games. And the verdict that you found that one streak of 45 games out of 50,000 games, which is not correct number, and of course there were tens again of such streaks. So you are telling that one streak, winning streak like that, out of 50,000 games is possible. I'm sorry, I could have told you this before checking. Of course it's possible, and in fact it's even likely given the number of games played. Yeah, of course, one streak in 50,000 games like that, even I would probably produce. But absolutely, your first sentence, and actually my request, and the first sentence tells that you are checking something totally different. So why you are writing this nonsense? I'm sorry, this is just ridiculous. I mean, you found that one streak is possible. And what about numerous streaks in 800 games? You don't want to write about it. Why you don't mention that this is possible? Maybe because you are afraid that some mathematicians will come and tell that it's very questionable, your verdict. I mean, it's just a confusion. It's a clear illogical confusion in this statement, which has nothing to do with statistics or mathematics. I'm sorry. And after that, and we confirm these results with external statisticians, including a professor of statistics at the top 10 university. Okay, without calling the name of this person. What results of this one streak? You could just call me or write me an email. I will confirm you this. And any sensible person will confirm you. But you didn't confirm what you were searching for, supposedly, which is amount of streaks in a limited time, because you are not writing about it. So what is this? And you want me to trust after that, to trust your anti-cheating system, to trust your report? Maybe you'll make an effort first to write something a little bit more logical and coherent, to mathematics and statistics, and then we will speak. Then maybe one day I will start to trust your verdicts. But this is simply not serious. I'm sorry. Any mathematician, even you don't have to be a mathematician, every sensible person understands that this is just, it's simply has no logic behind it. So that is what I wanted to say, just to give you example and explain why I'm not happy. And I hope you will see very clearly that, I would like you, Chess.com, Danny, Eric, please improve. When you state something, please prove it. And when you give at least some numbers, you do it very rarely, but make it coherent, please, that it's not refutable just in few minutes like I did now. Thank you.